Hi guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to AskGolfNut channel and welcome to a video against a powerhouse, against an underdog. Everyone loves an underdog, and we've got the Taylormade P790, the 2025 version, up against the PXG 0317T. Now these are both players distance irons, slightly different in loft though. Taylormade and PXG have a different idea how they want their players distance irons to sit. Taylormade are a little bit more in this strong variety, they're 30 degrees for a 7 iron, while the PXG, they see their players distance iron to blend much closer to that of their CB, their players cavity, and also their ST, which is their blade. I'm going to be testing these at 3 different swing speeds, 70, 80 and 90 miles an hour, to see if there's any benefit for different golfers at different swing speeds, and also be doing my full forgiveness testing where we hit it all over the face. And let's go see how good it actually does when it comes to those forgiving miss hits. When you don't hit the middle, how much ball speed does it drop off from weird and wonderful parts of the face? On the screen, if you haven't seen these before, these are the heat maps, which basically identify how much ball speed drops off every single millimetre you move away from the face. So you've got plus 22 on the left-hand side, that is the toe section. On the right-hand side, you've got minus 22, that is the heel. You've also got high and low. You've got a blue line on there. That blue dotted line is turf interaction line. Basically, if you hit the golf ball higher than 5 or 6 millimetres from where you should do on the face, you're going to be interacting with the ground first. No one likes hitting a chunk of fat, or whatever you'd like to call it, and so you haven't got to worry about how efficient high on the face is when you're taking a lump of where you are in the world out first. But you can see on the P790 you have the green blob in the middle, and it does radiate low and also out towards the toe. You can go all the way to 20 millimetres off of the toe, and you're only losing just into the 3%, which is really quite good. Hitting something more than 3/4 of an inch off the toe and only losing 3% of your ball speed, and because it's a flat-faced iron, ball speed and distance is directly correlative, so 3% and 3% your distance, and no different to low on the face. You can go all the way to near on top territory and you're only losing 3%. Now on the heel, it does do a little bit of a worse job. If you go all the way to 20 millimetres off the heel, and you are now starting to get into 7%. 7% of your distance is quite a decent way. If you're hitting 160, 170 yards, 150 yards, whatever it is, with your 7 iron, for example, and you're losing 7% off a heel strike, that is very much so into, if you had force carry, dropping way short into the water or into the bunker or whatever it would be. But you can see it is much healthier off the toe and also low. If you move over to the PXG 0317T, a definitely different heat map. It's definitely got a little bit more forgiveness in different areas and a little bit worse in others. If you go to the toe, it is better than that of the P790. Inside the 317T, you have got tungsten, and it is off the toe. It is designed to be much more helpful laterally across the face. You can see when you go low on the face though, we are dropping into 5% when we start getting very close to top territory, where the P790 is better than that. But then when you go heel, the 0317T is distinctly better toe and also heel than the P790. So if you are a heel striker or a toe striker and you want to get the maximum from your golf clubs out of these two irons, the 0317T is better. If you hit it low on the face, then I would definitely say the 2025 P790 should be the one you should go for. So you get an understanding how well these work when obviously you don't hit the middle, and how it works compared against the other ones, and also how well it does in flight. We use what we call the radar chart. All the information that you will see and have seen so far, the heat maps, the radar chart, and also the self-fit tool when it comes to doing the 70, 80 and 90 miles an hour, is available on my website www.askgolfnut.com, where the website members can choose what tier level access they want, especially when you're looking at buying and comparing and purchasing irons, having some measured information of exactly how golf clubs work rather than the marketing information which we all get spoon-fed, so you can make sure you make the right choices. But you can see that on the radar chart, you've got off the toe section, the P790 is slightly worse than that of the 0137T. If you go to the heel though, you can see how much better the 0137T is off of the heel. It is much better than that of the P790, but if you go low on the face, the P790 does do a bit better. Overall though, with the benefits of laterally across the face, actually it is slightly more forgiving than that of the P790. This is where we get into the flight side of things. All golf clubs hits, or at least deliver different aspects of spin, launch and speed to the golf ball. So you might have two golf clubs exactly the same loft, but if they're designed differently, they will do different things to the golf ball. So all the information you can see on this part here is basically loft for loft adjusted. So there is 2 degrees of loft between these two, but these are loft for loft adjusted. So they are basically as if they were the same loft. You can see the 0317T Because of the way it's forgiving, it is not very forgiving low, but it's very forgiving heel and toe. The centre of gravity on this golf club is much more in line with the ball, where the P790 wants to drag the centre of gravity down. It does have that flighted CG within its tungsten technology with its design, which moves between, let's say, the 4-irons and long irons all the way down the pitch and wedges, where they're moving the centre of gravity to try and get the most launch and help that you can from the golf club. But it means you can see that the PXG has a slight benefit on face speed than that of the P790. If you go distance potential, considering there is 2 degrees of loft difference between these two, basically because of the extra face speed that you're going to get from an 0317T, you are going to get basically the same distance potential. Face spin rate are basically identical, but as this is where you see the big difference, the P790 has a distinct advantage of launch factor. This is the lowered centre of gravity that you're going back to the face speed idea, that yes, it won't have as fast a face, but it will get that golf ball launching. So when it comes to a 70 or so miles an hour swing speed, when you need as much help in launch as possible, trying to keep the golf ball in the air, you would definitely say that P790 would potentially be better than that of the 0317T. So let's talk about how well it gets on at 3 different swing speeds. We've got the information here on the Self-Fit tool. The Self-Fit tool is a gold tier feature, and it is an amazing thing because it allows you to compare all of the 70 plus irons that we have on the database. If you're thinking about purchasing a set of irons and you want to see how it compares in flight between whatever you're testing and whatever you've got, then you can actually see what the differences are on this tool. But you can see at the top there we have the sliders. They are the delivery sliders, which again, if you are a gold tier member and you need any help when it comes to understanding what your delivery is, just send me a message on either Discord or email, one of the two. I'll put the links on the either on the description or on the screen so you can check. But we've got the information set at 70 miles an hour. We've got angle attack down at -2. Angle attack is how much the golf club is coming down into the golf ball, and we've got shaft lean at -2 as well. I do all of these at -2 and -2 for continuity purposes, and -2 for the shaft lean is basically de-lofting, how much you de-loft. Some people add loft, some people take loft away, and you can also just change the slider, and it will change the flights accordingly. But you can see we've got the PXG 0317T in pale blue, and we have the Taylormade P790, the 2025 model, in yellow. So let's go have a look at the 7-irons and see how they compare at the slower speed of 70 miles an hour. You can see we've got the max carry of the 0317T going 128 and the 7-iron of the P790 going 129. So there is obviously 2 degrees of loft difference on here. You can actually adjust on the right hand side there. You can see we've got the loft adjust, so you can move any of one of the two up, down by 1 degree or 2 degrees depending, so you can work out from a blending point of view. But we'll just keep it standard for the moment because these are the ones you're going to be hitting in your custom fittings. And you can see there's 1 yard difference in max carry. The average carry is just a measure of when you have a nominal miss across the face and you don't hit the middle, what kind of drop off you average going to get. We've got the same peak height of 22 yards in the air and effectively exactly the same descent angle. So there is no necessary benefit going from one or the other, even though the PXG has got 2 degrees more loft, which would potentially mean more launch. Because of the higher launch factor on the P790, the lower central gravity, it does get the golf ball going up there, and it makes up for that difference. Normally what you'd see in a 70 miles an hour swing speed, or even lower than that, is that one of these golf clubs where you've got massively cranked lofts, even stronger than that of a 30 degree 7-iron that P790 have got, you're going to find actually it works against you. Loft is your friend when it comes to the really slow swing speeds. So it's actually quite nice with that extra launch factor you're going to get from the P790. You can see that it outdoes the PXG by 1 yard. If you go to 80 miles an hour though, you can see that the 0317T's got a max carry of 151 to the 153 of that of the P790. We are talking 147, 148 within reason. There's very, very small differences in average carry. We're going 30 yards in the air to 30 yards in the air. There's a theme going here, and 46.6 degrees descent angle, 46.5 degrees descent angle. Very, very close. It's very, very close how these golf clubs work. They work in completely different ways, where one's got more loft, but it's got definitely more face speed. One's got less loft, less face speed, but more launch factor. And there's two ways, multiple ways to skin a cat as such. And you can see here that the PXG is just lagging behind slightly that of the P790. Yes, you can strengthen up the PXG, the 0317T, to that of the P790 because of the fact that it is a forged head, so you can actually bend it around to suit your lie and loft requirements. but then it would just go lower. It would just go peak height lower. Yes, it would go further. Yes, it would do. It would then outstrip a little bit of the P790 potentially in distance, but it would then coming a little bit shallow. Now, of course, these are these deliveries. If you deliver completely differently and you do promote a bit more height, then you may want a golf club that launches it slightly lower. And that's what necessarily that the PXG is good at doing. But if you need ultimate help in trying to get the golf ball launching, then the P790 is winning on this case. Full on 90 miles an hour, you can really see what happens when you start putting speed into these golf clubs. Let's just go by the 7 irons again. We've got the 21.7 degrees of launch, 21.9 degrees of launch on these 2 irons. Very, very close. But you've got 170 to 172. Again, the P790 just a couple of yards longer, equal everything like for like. And we're looking at 39 yards in there, 39 yards in there, 50.6 degrees descent angle, 50 degrees descent angle. They are extremely, extremely close. Can I choose between these two? No, personally for me, I couldn't do. It would all come down to the uniqueness of these 2 irons and how they deliver launch and speed. If you do want a slightly more penetrating flight, you can go for the 0317T, which doesn't have such a high launch factor than that of the P790. And you can actually strengthen them as well. Obviously, going back to loft things, you can strengthen them up if you need to get the distance, but then a slightly more penetrating flight. If you do hit your golf ball too high, that's the benefit of having forged heads, no different to the P790. You can do that if you wish to, but obviously we are pigeonholed with the P790, being the fact that it wants to launch the golf ball to the moon. So as a conclusion to the P790 2025 version against the PXG 0317T, we'll go do looks, feel, performance, and then forgiveness. So looks and feel. If I was going to go for a winner personally of the looks side of things, I would have to choose the PXG. Gone are the days where we had that industrial multiple grub screwed back, and it really did polarized different people's opinions of whether they liked it or they didn't. It was an extremely industrial look and not necessarily for everybody's taste. Now they've dialed it down quite a bit and it actually does look really very nice. The big thing that the PXG has got over near enough every other brand is that little weight, that round weight at the back. Again, not everybody's taste of aesthetics, I would agree, but it does allow for the golf club to be able to be changed in swing weight during your custom fitting, which is such an important thing. It can change your time, it can change your strike, it can change literally a golf club from being I can't use it, can't feel it, just doesn't feel very good, to striping it straight out the screws and being out of control where the face is. It is an amazing thing which I really wish a lot more manufacturers would have the option to do, but it's difficult obviously because you'd have to change the complete design of all of the golf clubs. Feel wise, I'd actually have to give it, when it comes to me, I'm looking for a softer feeling. I'm a forged blade player, so I love the soft butter-like feeling, and so I would actually go down the route of the PXG. The 0317T just feels nicer than the P790. The P790 doesn't do bad at all. I mean, if you compare that to previous P790s, it's one of, if not the best feeling of all of them. It's just a case of the 0317T just feels softer, dead, dull, whatever you want to call it. It's still got plenty of feedback, so you know exactly where you hit it on the face. It's just that you don't have that explosive impact sound. Performance-wise, they do things massively differently between these two. Even though there is 2 degrees of loft difference, which is half a golf club, they actually do things quite considerably differently to make the same result. Where you've got the PXG, which has a higher center of gravity, so it doesn't launch the golf ball as high, it definitely does have a faster face. And with that faster face, you get the distance back that you otherwise wouldn't get. And considering it's half a golf club behind in loft, it's definitely not half a golf club behind in distance. It does a very, very good job at keeping up with the P790, considering it is half a golf club weaker. But when it comes to forgiveness, I would have to say that when you're looking at the differences between these golf clubs, these are one of the biggest differences. If you are a lateral misser, if you are a toe striker or a heel striker, absolutely, I would suggest that the 0317T is the golf club for you. It's just a little bit penal off of low strikes, and if you do hit low on the face, then I would absolutely say that the P790 is the better golf club. If you hit toe and low, P790. If you are a heel misser though, absolutely, I would dump the P790. The P790 just does not like being hit off of heel misses, and of course you're looking at the 0317T being the choice for you. Hope you liked the video. If you did, go and give it a big old thumbs up. Hit that like button. YouTube likes it, so do I. Down there is a subscribe button. It's free. It is great for the channel if you could subscribe, so thank you. Next, that one is a bell icon. That's a notification bell. If you click that one, that'll let you know next time I upload another video. Hope you're well. We'll see you again soon.